basically today I want to show you guys an argument presented by this guy. An invest IQS Investix. I don't know. Well, the other guy's Tyson Rex Maga Lunatic Adventure Piro. His own show. Okay. 2 months ago, has about 1 million views. That's why it showed up. That's why I'm talking about it. And basically, I'm going to respond because I watched it. Okay, and I'm just kind of gonna show you guys and to make you more aware of stuff. Basically, this is I want this debate that's happening. I wish I was part of it. I could push it towards the directions that they need, but that's why I get excluded from these things, like the Bernie blackout. Like I'm making too much sense, so they get rid of me. And they kind of want this dilemma, and you to choose one or the other, and they don't want you to go down the middle like me, basically. And so that's why they shut me down, and they gave me the brain blackout syndrome. Because again, I would bring the two sides together, and they want the two sides to fight. And so that's what we have. So, anyways, here we go.
We live in a free country, and
That's not joking.
And with consenting adults and people free expression of who and what they are.
Man, on adult level, I agree with you. I think it does matter what you teach
That's
your
what I'm
children.
saying. And so there's the matrix of you know what you are by. There's the matrix of
what you teach your children.
Free expression of who and what they are.
Man, on adult level, I agree with you.
That right there was an edit.
Adults and people free expression of who and what they are.
Man, on adult level.
That was an edit.
Yeah, on adult level, I agree with you. I think it does matter what you teach your children.
Maybe there was a silence that was prolonged or something, and that's what it seems like. He jumped in and cut him off more abruptly than I think it was true. It's made to seem worse, it seems like.
Free expression of who and what they are.
Man, on adult level, I agree with you. I think it does matter what
who and what they are, and then like it just abruptly just like there had been some pretty more context to this. Is my point, and it makes you feel a certain way because they're excluding context that should be included, but it isn't included because they're trying to get you. It's kind of they're pulling a fox. And they're telling you how to feel, and they're trying to like, how does this make you feel? Are you angry? Do you like it? Are you biased yet? And they're trying to draw you to that conclusion. So
you teach
that's
your
what I'm
children.
saying. And so
and real quick, the point again, like first and foremost, like it may have been cut, it may not. Either way, there's context missing, basically, and that's generally a big deal with me. As I point out context, because context matters. Like the word nigger, for example. If you're like, oh my god, you said the N-word, stop it. Or the word shit, for example. Like, yes, they are bad words, but understand there's a difference between, like, looking at the word. There's like a scientific glass, for example, or like a microscope, right? Like, right? Oh, that's a pile of shit, all right? There's a difference between that and oh, suck my dick, you fucking. You know what I'm saying? There's context makes the difference, right? That's where racism comes from, and why people believe in racism, and why people think race is real, because you aren't allowing context to exist. And he's black because he comes from a country, like Neil Tyson is black because his parents are from a culture where they needed to be black, or maybe their parents, or and so forth and so on. Like it depends. Variants and degrees will change depending on genes and whatnot. But the point is, like, if he was a woman, I can get him pregnant. If I was a woman, he could get me pregnant, right? And the reason is because he's black doesn't mean anything. Like everyone's like, oh my god, he's black. Oh my god, he's Asian. It doesn't like today. Like back then, sure, maybe back in the day when people did live in certain little boxes and mixing. But today it's a fucking, you know what I mean? Like everyone's everywhere all the time, doing everything anyways. Doesn't matter. Anyways,
There's the
12 seconds in, I've been talking for fucking 5 minutes.
the matrix of what you are biologically.
Oh, so the point, basically, it was a valid point.
They are.
I mean, on adult level, I agree with you. I think it does matter what you teach
That's
your
what I'm
children.
saying. And
So, it's called Shapiro is trying to push forward, and he's trying to explain. I get ya, but here's the line, and it goes way back to where the line doesn't exist, where he makes sense. And this is kind of I'm trying to use bias to win, and I'm trying to build you up to be more my flavor, so that when we cross that crossing line, it feels more natural to flow, because we're here. I'm building up context to make my viewpoint seem more natural, because you just flow into it. Because I've been talking for so long, I built up a story. There's a chair, there's all the woodwork, and blah blah, and then we cross the field, and just we keep going, and so forth and so on. It feels like nothing just happened, but you agreed with him because you're biased and you fell for it basically. And my point is, don't fall for it, right? It's just bullshit. It's like that's fair. We'll get there, but the point is, and which is not what he thinks.
so there's the matrix of what you are biologically, how you express yourself, who you choose as a sexual partner. If we actually live in a free country, as we tell ourselves, people's freedom to behave in any of those ways should not concern you at all. Nor
But as Ben Shapiro said, it's not me. It was my children. But you're not. You see what I'm saying? Like, this is why I get blacklisted. Because I get to the core, and they don't want you to get to the core. They want you to cut on the weeds, and they want you to fight, and they want you to have drama. They want you to believe the bullshit, because divided they fall. So,
are they requiring that you behave that way? Okay,
Well,
this is for their own freedoms, because we live in a free country.
see, he keeps on, because we live in a free country. Me, us, me, us. We can do things, and you have to. Ben Shapiro made it clear. We're talking about my kids. What's taught in classroom? It's not about what us. It's about them. Why are you still talking about us? And then the problem is, Ben Shapiro is not pushing back enough, basically.
In today's video, Neil deGrasse Tyson absolutely destroys Ben Shapiro
I have yet to see
in a heated debate on LGBTQ. While Shapiro tried to force everything into a rigid binary, Tyson came through with
a rigid binary. What do you mean, rigid binary? And what's up with these Fox News definitions? Why can't you just say he's trying to come up with a binary this or that instead of it being binary? He's saying, oh, it's a dysfunctional, misplaced fucking blah blah blah. I'm trying to, again, I'm using words to add context to the word, make you biased toward a certain way before you even know what we're talking about. I'm trying to get you on my side to agree or disagree with whatever it is that we're talking about, because I'm using words to make it biased. Like, for example, the rigid, so you know I don't like it. And so I'm hoping that me bringing it up, you'll take it and you'll be like, well, I don't like it because it's rigid. You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of what I'm saying, and that's what Neil deGrasse Tyson did, basically. And that's basically what's going on so far, but yeah.
the receipts, talking biology, psychology, and sociology. And the
Yeah, biology, psychology, sociology. It's not the biased, or nuanced, rather. But I combined biased and biased, nuanced. I combined them, I think. But anyways.
very real nuance behind identity and scientific understanding. It wasn't just about owning Shapiro, it was about showing why real conversations need more curiosity and less political posturing.
Right. But then you can have that, but all Ben is saying is who gets that do that. And us as adults get to decide for our children, basically, which is what Ben Shapiro put forward already. And what you're trying to powder coat away from and bias and bullshit or whatever, understand he is coming from it scientifically biased or new or would you say rigid, right? Rigid as you think, it's still men and women that can be rigid or oh no scary, but that's what it is. There's only men and women basically, right? And in between there's unlimited variances, but it's still one or the other. You know what I'm saying? Between you can have whatever the fuck you want. You know, you can have like me myself. I think I'm like 90% male and like 10% female, uh, emotionally, basically. But like at times, like I'm 150% male because I literally cut through the bone, I to the bone. You know what I mean? There's no fucking fat here, bitch. I'll cut you. I will cut you. I'll cut, bitch. Right? But sometimes I can be very nuanced and just kind of whatever. And like I don't know, I'm feeling kind of womanly, just whatever. Like 90% woman now. Like, oh, okay. But it's between the man and a woman. There's no more above that. You're either all man or all woman or somewhere in the middle. That's choose, but it's between those two things.
This wasn't just a debate. It was Neil bringing science to a culture war and calmly reminding everyone that
No, it's actually Ben Shapiro's bringing science to the culture war too. So
understanding human complexity isn't woke, it's just accurate.
that's what being woke is. In your biased world, where you seem to think when they say woke and they add the context to try to define it as something else, and you accept it and then defend against it, in that little pretend world, think what you want, but in reality, woke just means you woke up. That's it. You woke up. That's it. Add any other context you want. Okay, but what does it have to do with being awake? Right? That's it. So again, you're awake, you're aware, you're paying attention. That's really all it means at the end of the day, right? Add context all you want. But that's all it means is you're not asleep. People that want you to be asleep, they want you to follow the lullaby and the bullshit, and they want you to follow, listen to the storyteller, and just pay attention, obey the rules that we set forward. Authoritarianism, it's good for you. Oh, honey, I got you forever, right? Um, I grew up with what's it called In Living Color, and they fucking girl, like they did all kinds of shit. So that shit was funny. That shit was off the chain, bro. I'm saying. Yes.
So let's dive in and watch how Neil deGrasse Tyson shuts down Ben Shapiro
And how biased, blah blah blah.
in this heated debate.
It's not really heated. It's biased. There's a discussion, and he thinks this way, and then he thinks that way, and they don't have a middleman. What is what you need in this situation? You need a middleman. But when it comes for like me paying you for something, like you don't need a middleman. It's just here's the money, and I'm like, thank you for the money, and that's what I'm saying. But they fucked that up too. So
Now, what is unresolved here is what do you do with sports? It's unresolved. And I've followed that closely, and I don't see any.
okay, again, so Ben Shapiro was talking about what I teach my children, but now he's talking about sports, and like they're arguing two different fronts here. It's like having a war at level D, and Neil deGrasse Tyson's at having it at a 7, and it's like there's two fronts with like you're going against nothing. You're just kind of arguing past one another, like and they put like they might as well be in different rooms, not really talking to each other, because they're just talking at one another. And this is what happens when you live in a closed world, or closed system, or closed society. But
I don't see any meaningful solutions to come down off of that. We know that hormones manifest differently in different people, and just the whole thing with steroids. Steroids are hormones, right? And we rallied against steroids in professional sports because it gives you an undue advantage. So, and I've tried to.
It can give you an advantage, by the way, Mr. Scientist. It's not that it does, it's that it can. There are a lot of people who take them, and they have no benefit at all to it. But there are some people that do, and that get benefits quite a bit. And that's the difference.
Think of what the future of sports would be in the world of a gender spectrum. And it may be, you don't specify whether it's a male or female sport. You just take measurements of what your hormonal balances are. And so you compete based on your hormonal.
So you're talking about context. It's not title, it's context. Oh.
This is thought I had. I mean, I don't know. I don't know where it's going to land.
The WNBA won't be in business for very long if that's the case.
It would just be you'd have to find some way to compete people against each other if you still care that.
By the way, I don't see how that's not true.
Sports isn't.
I mean, in the sense that a woman weighs 180 pounds versus a man that also, yeah, that's true. The WNBA would be gone, yeah. You're right, Ben Shapiro, point one. That's how that works. And this show's like, no, it doesn't make sense. And I thought about it, I was like, oh, you're right. He probably knows more than I do. And to use my knee-jerk reaction as justification, like, no. That's called a dictatorship. By the way, I didn't feel that way, so fuck you, Ben. That's what happened in Destiny's Discord and Destiny.gg. Is they're like, I feel banned. You know what I'm saying? And that's dictatorship. And we're in America. What do you mean by that? You know what I'm saying? Like, you explain yourself. You get that right, so.
An interesting activity.
I guess the area where it does come up in a non-sports area.
Yeah, tell me, 'cause I don't know.
So it would be, you talking.
You're talking a lot. Yeah, tell me, because I don't know. But yet, you've been talking for 2 minutes and 30 seconds, and I think Ben Shapiro has had 10 seconds of that time, whereas you've talked every single, the rest of it, and, minus the host, of course, and myself. Oh, well, the 2 minutes and 30, that's between you guys, so never mind. I was thinking of the over of what I'm producing, basically, or planning to send out into the world, basically. But minus what I'm doing, like, you've been talking the whole time. So you can't claim or feign ignorance, basically, because you've been, again, like, do not claim or do not be the leader if you can't lead. It's that simple. So continue.
A book about the education of children and teaching children about science. And right now, children are being taught about the quote-unquote genders.
And again, Ben Shapiro wants to talk more about the kids, and on that front, which we have yet to hear. Though he's been talking the whole time, we have yet to hear anything about kids for Tyson. So what the fuck?
Spectrum, which is not scientifically based. That is a theory-based idea.
No, wait, hold on. People express themselves on a spectrum. So you learn that.
That's a social point,
sure.
not a scientific point.
It's
meaning we express ourselves
hold on.
based in different languages. Is that something you teach in science class, or is that something that you teach when you're teaching language?
So whether
Hold on. I need to formulate it through my eyes. I need to be biased. I need to. I'm anti-change because I'm an old man, and I can't change. And you're young, and you can't, or you can change. And so we have a difference in opinion, and we really need a third person here to talk because me and you alone can't reason for shit. And I'm trying to look for a napkin, but that doesn't work.
fact that people want to express themselves on a spectrum on a gender spectrum, whether that fact is something you want to put in a sociology class or in a science class, maybe that remains to be determined.
That's what they're trying to figure out, you smart ass.
But it is a real fact about real society.
Now, when Ben tried to reduce the entire LGBTQ conversation down to a binary framework and
It's funny, he says a binary framework because it literally is boy or girl, and then unlimited possibilities down the middle. And anyone that says beyond male or beyond female is a fucking ignorant piece of shit because we don't have those. It's either you're a man or you're a woman, or some portion of a man or some portion of a woman that is a man or a woman. You know what I'm saying? And to argue that is stupid at best. And by the way, you can be down the middle, meaning that you have both, and you can pregnate yourself, basically. Like that, I don't know. I'm just saying.
dismiss the gender spectrum as not specific, Tyson made the crucial point that how people express themselves
what?
is conversation down to a. Now, when Ben tried to reduce the entire LGBTQ conversation down to a binary framework and dismiss the gender spectrum as not specific, Tyson made the crucial point
As not specific. I don't understand.
that how people express themselves is a real, observable fact about society, regardless of whether it fits nearly into a textbook definition of biology. Social reality matters too.
Okay, well, that was a nice little edit, by the way.
Fits nearly into a textbook definition of biology. Social reality
So you can hear it. It's like, and you can hear dead silence. Not silence, but dead silence, as in, like, there's nothing, and then you can hear the audio input. So you are reading a script, and you suck at your job. Just to let you know. But continue on your point of bullshit.
matters too, especially in a free country where either biology. Social reality matters too, especially in a free country where self-expression is part of the deal. Tyson didn't ignore the complexities either. He openly acknowledged that areas like sports are still navigating how to adapt in a world where gender.
That's what Ben is talking about. Is trying to figure that out. It's like, again, like you're talking from here, but he's over there. And he's like, well, this is the case for this. And you're like, well, hold on. This is how I feel about this. It's like, well, okay, but that's not this. It's like, and you need me there to put you on track because he is a fucking Rainbow Road right now.
Gender identity is broader than just male and female, but he didn't fall into the trap of pretending that nuance equals invalidity. And let's not forget the American side trap of pretending that nuance equals invalidity. And let's not he didn't fall into the trap of pretending that nuance equals invalidity. And let's not forget the American psychology.
It sounded like he cut that. Like I forgot the word. What was the word? That was invalidity. Like you tried to.
Association, the World Health Organization, and virtually every major medical and scientific body recognizes gender as distinct from sex and existing along a spectrum. That's not some fringe theory, it's the conscious of experts who've actually studied human development.
Well, of course, nobody's denying that people identify how they want to identify.
Right.
The question is, what is the relationship of that to biology? Meaning that the argument is made that trans women are women, for example. And what that seems to mean is that trans women are identical to women. Now, if people want to say trans women are not biological women, obviously that is the case. But people don't seem to want to say that, although that is obviously scientifically true.
So now what happened was, you're here, I'm here, and you met him here, and so he was like, and now you're talking about this point instead of your main point. So again, you need a middleman.
Trans women are not biological women. Biological women are biological women.
But where are you going with this? What are you trying to accomplish?
Again, you pointed out many times, but because you're looking at it incorrectly, you don't see it. You're like, well, that's yet to be determined. That's what we're talking about. And I ask him, well, what are you talking about? When you yourself have said that's yet to be determined.
By asking yourself, is it science or is it not science? It's people in society.
But this is a perfect example of an area where suddenly it doesn't matter to say things that are just true. Like, why is it bad or wrong to point out?
I have another way to approach this. I care what is objectively true in the world.
So what Ben is saying is, why talk about gay if that's not a factor? It's a side effect, but it's not a factor, right? And all I have to say is majority matters. Like, most of society is not gay. And we can put focus there all you want. And maybe this person did this or this person did that. Doesn't matter. I'm sorry, I'm just hungry, and that sandwich is good. It's in the spot, but I gotta stop. Sorry.
As a scientist. But let me not say even as a scientist. I just simply care what is objectively true.
Right.
And science happens to be a pretty potent path.
But why talk about gay, though? That's the question. Why bring it up? That's what Ben is saying. Why mention it if it has no point to be brought up, but you're just bringing it up to bring it up? Basically, you're making a deal for just making it a deal. Like, this is so dumb. Like, this argument is so dumb.
To invoke, to find out what is true. And so, if people express themselves on a gender spectrum, and that is an actual thing in an actual society, if we have not fully explained that scientifically, that's an interesting frontier to study. If you want to say it's only sociological, then it's the purview of the social sciences. I don't care who studies it. It's an interesting fact about society that's worth learning about. To fight someone and say it's not
right, it's a thing, but it has nothing to do with this thing. Do you understand? So it can. It's just like why should I have to learn, for example, I don't know how they call it, like micro devices, or I guess something like with the math having to like I understand that knowing basic math, as long as you can do like addition, subtraction, division, multiplication, little basic math up to a point, arithmetic, whatever, sure, but it doesn't matter when talking about like fractions and decimals, like the most atomic, like it doesn't matter at that point. And you're saying like we should make that front and center. It's like, but why? Like my whole life, I will go through, and that will never come up. Why do I have to learn about it? That's kind of the point, I think.
Not biological. It's just it's real and it's there.
Well,
because it's real because it manifests.
But it is real because it manifests. But the question of how to classify manifestation is a scientific question, meaning that, for example, there was a woman over at Brown University. Mm-hmm. She came out with a study that suggested that there was a phenomenon called rapid onset gender dysphoria, in which a member of a particular group would suffer from gender dysphoria, and this person's immediate peer group would suddenly have an onset of gender dysphoria. This paper was so controversial that Brown tried to pull it, and then was forced to reassign it later. You see this sort of treatment.
That's a different question. What you're asking now is, are there some topics that should not be studied scientifically?
Right.
And
that's not a different question. That's the question. It's just now Neil finally gets it. Even though Ben Shapiro asked that at the start, it took you 7 minutes and whatever of talking to see it, and now you finally see it. Let's see what he thinks.
Is there some taboo? Sam Harris speaks a lot about this.
Yes.
Right.
And
it's called being on the right page.
I think the concern is if you study some topic that's a hot button topic and you bring scientific methods and tools to it, we don't trust, I'm interpreting here, I think we as a society don't trust that people in charge in a free country won't try to legislate something that will constrict people's freedoms in the face of that information. I think that's the fear.
Now, Ben, like always, tried to distill gender.
So your claim is that we should talk about it. Wait. He didn't say if we should or shouldn't. He just said if we did, but you didn't take a stance.
Scientific.
If we did, then someone might try to do something. Okay.
Methods and tools to
it. Understand?
We don't trust. I'm interpreting here. I think we as a society don't trust that people in charge in a free country won't try to legislate something that will constrict people's freedoms.
Constrict people's freedom as in more gay or less gay? Like, what do you mean? Like, as far as what?
In the face of that information.
Again, like, it doesn't matter.
I think that's the fear.
I don't see...
Now, Ben, like always, tried to distill gender down to nothing more than chromosomes.
This guy clearly has a vagina.
Biological women are biological women, which sure, on a narrow biological level is true, but...
Well, you're lucky that fact is a fact, or else it wouldn't be a fact, okay? It's like... Okay.
Neil was making a much broader and more relevant point.
A much broader and relevant point, meaning he's tickled your butthole.
People exist and express themselves in ways that don't always line up with that binary, and
right, but that doesn't mean the machine should then start taking in everything. It just means that you need to conform to the machine. It's like putting a key in a car. Yeah, there's a bunch of keys, but only that one works. You understand?
That's a real part of society. Whether science fully explains it yet or not, it's observable and worthy of exploration, not denial. Tyson,
do what you want. Have a ring of keys. That's fine. But to drive that car, you need that key. And just having all those keys doesn't give you the right to have that car.
Tyson's position that it's not about denying.
And learning about all that shit is clouding fucking bull, because it's a sidestep. It's a side quest. It's not a main quest. So you can. It's there. It's sure. No one's saying you can't learn about it. We're just saying it's not mandatory.
Biology, but expanding our understanding of how biology, identity, and society intersect is the most honest and curious one.
Honest, yeah. It's the most biased.
And he's right. If something is happening in the world, whether it's gender identity or social trends, it's not anti-science to acknowledge it. In fact,
right, but it is progress to expect something to know everything about everything. It's impossible, by the way. Like me myself as a jack of trades, I know a lot about shit. But a bunch of shit, you know why? It's because I know that in order to become a grandmaster at this, that means that I can't be a grandmaster at that. I don't like that. Right? I haven't made up my mind as far as where I want to go and what I want to do for the rest of my life. As far as I know, this is it. Right? What I'm doing right now is what I want to do for the rest of my life. As far as I'm concerned now, basically. I'm telling you to be open about it. And understand what it is and what it isn't. And understand how mind games exist and how people try to play you. All I exist for, again, is a conduit for you to just truth, reality, I didn't sell out. There's no bullshit. You're not gonna be, your butthole is safe around me. You know what I'm saying? You can have your daughter hang out around me. She can be completely butt naked, wanting to all the time. She's still fine around me. I won't do anything with her. You know why? It's because I had that chance when I was a fucking horny ass kid. I denied them, even though they were coming at me with their legs open around me. No. So
It's scientific.
we need to connect on like a connected. She has to have a brain. Kids don't have a brain.
To ask how and why, not shut down the conversation down with reductive labels. Also,
Bullshit. So all you said, bullshit. And all you're doing is bullshit. I like. I can't bullshit. I like bullshit. It's harder for me to do this with this hand because it's the stroke side. So
for some context, the rapid onset gender
I had a stroke, by the way. It's hard for me to do stuff with that right hand.
dysphoria paper that Ben brought up has been heavily criticized for its flawed methodology. It relies on surveys of parents recruited.
This is what they do, and this is what both sides do. Really, is they look for validation or validation, man. And like it came out weird. So, anyways, they look for something and they latch on to it. Like I was it, trying to remember his name. Bald fat guy, white guy, bald. He's fat. He's white, and he's bald. He's fat. He's white. Fuck. I remember his name. Louis C.K. Louis C.K. arguing with a woman. I think it was Louis C.K. I think it was Louis C.K. arguing with. Oh no, it was Bill Burr. This is what they do, and they go rogue. That's right, it was Bill Burr. So skinny. Also, I think he's a redhead. I don't remember, but yeah, he's skinny and bald. Also, but he's a smart man. I would say he's pretty intelligent. I would say I have to talk to him to know how intelligent and how good he is. But anyways, the point is, and I keep doing this by the way because again the stroke was the right side of my body, and so while I'm talking, like sometimes I'll, all right, and what it is spit will build up and start to build up like right here. It's I can't control, I can't feel it, and so what I do is I wipe it away or I'll just slurp, just because I feel it, and like okay, and then it's gone. Like one or another, I get rid of it. That's the idea. But anyways, Louis C.K. Or Bill Burr rather, they're both smart. I want to talk to them both. But basically, the point is, he watches arguing with a woman bit because it's actually not arguing with a woman. It's just arguing with someone who is manipulative, basically. It's not with a woman, it's just manipulative and someone who is like, I'm trying to appear to be better than you. But through me, it's kind of like the, you know how they say reverse psychology, basically? Well, that's the next level. If reverse psychology doesn't work, then they use this Pavlov psychology, basically. And they kind of like, and this is where it's familiar. It's something you know. So it's like the dog, and the steak, and the bells. And what they're doing is like ding 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 ding. Is they're trying to get you to really hammer it home, basically. And you're drooling, you can't help it. And like ding see ding ding see. That's what they're doing. But when they're wrong, they go rogue. And the reason why is because they don't want you to push that button. And so they go rogue to keep you from pushing that button. And that's basically what they're doing. Basically. But that's where we're at right now as far as psychology goes. Like, humans haven't evolved smart enough or haven't encountered humans that smart, basically. So I think that's where we're at right now. But continue. That's what's going on. Just so you know, I'm aware. If I hit the follow button, I'm boss.
From anti-trans forums, not the individuals experiencing dysphoria themselves. That's not rigorous science. That's bias posing as research.
That's what you're doing. Well done.
It's not surprising that the academic community
what do they call that? Projection? Yep. Good job.
Flagged it.
Well, isn't that?
It's a fear.
I mean, and isn't that?
We don't trust. our own ability to govern ourselves in the face of what could be some information relative to other kinds of information.
Isn't that a bit of a problem?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, it's not. It means it's not a free society. It's not a society of free inquiry.
So shouldn't we talk about that? Is that the whole kind of the point of the argument? Now you're both actually here, and this is why the world needs alphas. Because this right here, what we're looking at, is what happens. And why Jordan Peterson is always like, why is that we have a bunch of other words that we need men. That's what he says. We need men. Clean your room, and we need men. It's like Destiny's like, oh, Jordan Peterson wouldn't let me touch his pee-pee, so I don't like him. And Destiny's a fucking idiot, by the way. I fucking debate him any day of the week. But he's boring as fuck, so I doubt it. But the point is, though, like, there is no man here. And there's no alpha here. You can be a woman, basically, like, for example, Hillary Clinton, I think would do better than both of them as far as it goes for leadership. Same thing with Trump. He is authoritarian because his personality is authoritarian, and he's leading the nation to be authoritarian, basically. And he's trying to be authoritarian, blah, blah, blah. But again, we don't live in an authoritarian nation. That's what we're fighting for. So,
which I think you need ultimately, but yeah.
You need that ultimately? How so? You need someone in control of the rest? I don't think so. That might explain why you're still around. Is because you kiss ass, you're bootlicker.
General take on all of this stuff, from climate change to gender dysphoria to all of these issues, is bring out the science and then let's hash it out. Right. I think that the problem I'm seeing on a lot of sides
is, what is your motivation?
No, the question, can you let him finish, by the way?
And then let's hash it out. I think that the problem I'm seeing on a lot of sides is...
Like, see what I mean? Like, why are you interrupting him? He let you talk for 20 years. You can't let him talk. And Ben, why aren't you saying anything, you little bitch?
Motivation.
Why? Why does that matter?
It matters because if you have political power, you could end up creating legislation that subtracts freedoms from people who previously were enjoying the same freedoms as you.
That's a lot of generalization and no pinpoint accuracy required to make a statement. And again, that's why the Pavlovian methodology, instead of reverse psychology, we have the Pavlov psychology, where it's like, what's it called? Neil deGrasse Tyson, no idea. I have this moment. Let's stick to that one, build the story around that one, and that's the point. And then there's a new point, and that Ben Shapiro said, and he's like, you said a code word. The bell has been rung. So now explain that bell. Blah, 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 blah. I want to know. And he's pounding the point. But when he talks, he gets the point is somewhere in this circle, but I'm going to build everything around it for 20 minutes and act like I'm smart because I didn't say anything. And you go, wow, that was cool, because you're a child and you fucking like sitting in your chair or in a tree like a little monkey. Right, listening to fucking dumbass make no sense. Meanwhile, Ben Shapiro being misled like Marjorie Taylor Greene, right?
The history of that exercise.
I'd like to introduce into the record. What? Without objection, like fucking shadow state, fucking puppet government, fucking what's going on right now?
Then make a better argument.
Doesn't end well.
Well, but the history of which exercise? Bring out all the science and let's hash it out.
I'm saying, if you bring out all the science and the politicians hash it out, the history of that exercise is a recipe for disaster.
You haven't pointed to one.
If it involves discoveries that put people's freedom as defined in our Constitution at risk.
But now you're arguing for limitations on areas of particular study.
No, I'm arguing on we need a way to shield, we need a way to protect people's freedoms in the face of whatever gets discovered scientifically.
We need to protect freedoms, and by doing that, we need to remove limitation, basically. and expose everyone to everything, pretty much. So we need to defend from our own tyranny by allowing tyranny of every other aspect to exist. Nice. That was basically the point. That's basically what you said. We know our world, and that's it. That's the problem with the left, by the way. And the right, actually. The right likes to shoot you down, the left will ignore you and block you. But that's what they do. Is we know our shit. We're settled. We're fine. I'm in charge. We're good. I have it good. We're fine. Nope. No noise. No noise. Nothing can change. Do what you want. Quid pro quo could be the same. Status quo, whatever the fuck it's called. Status quo could be the same. It's fine. Whatever. But Ben Shapiro is talking about gay, basically. And what Neil said, talk about whatever you want. But the problem is, okay, but what about us? Basically, who are not in your little dome of shelter and protection and in the blue? What about us that are red, right? Because we understand that gay is kind of like, it's not necessarily a part of society. And it may be free or whatever, but not